and what the 3 disaster recovery centers set up. What do folks need to know before they show up and during this whole process?
Yeah, Peter Herrick from FEMA is back with us again to walk us through things. And what's the advantage of going in person versus doing things online?
Yeah, so I mean, if you don't have any questions, do you think you've got a pretty straightforward case, or the FEMA process makes sense to you? Online's probably the best bet. You're going to face a shorter wait time, and you're going to get in through the same process in the same system. Now, if you've got some nuances, maybe you don't have all your documentation, it doesn't all make sense to you, or you think you've got a unique case, or sometimes you just want to talk to someone face to face, a disaster recovery center is going to make a lot of sense for you.
Any tips on when's the best time to go to minimize your wait?
Yes. So if you show up earlier in the morning, sometime in the 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. time frame, you're probably going to get through with very little wait, if any. As obviously the day moves on, we're seeing more and more numbers, and it obviously depends on how many people are going on each day, but the morning is the better option. The evening can be a little dicey because maybe it's quiet, but you also may not get in before they start to close things up. So, like I said, we're encouraging people to go earlier in the day. And
do you foresee anybody maybe camping out at some of these locations to get in there right off the bat as soon as you open the doors? That's possible. I haven't heard any of those stories yet. We're obviously encouraging people not to do that. Usually if they show up in the morning, they don't have any issues getting right in the door and moving through pretty quickly. So they shouldn't feel the need to pressure to get there that quickly and get in that early.
You know, some folks on our Facebook page and whatnot have been complaining that their applications have been denied. Can you go over briefly for folks what FEMA does and does not cover for flood victims? Yeah, so we're obviously talking about things that are eligible for assistance. It doesn't mean everyone's going to get assistance for those things, but it's personal property, the contents of your house or your apartment, clothing, furniture, utilities, any damage to the home if you own the home. Obviously, if you're a renter, that stuff will go to the landlord. If you've got damage to your car, we'll help out with something like that. And then you've got the disaster unemployment program run through the Texas Workforce Commission. So those are the examples of some of the things that we'll cover. We can also help out with medical and dental expenses, but it doesn't mean that everyone's going to get coverage for those things, because there's a lot of things that go into the application. So it's not if you had damage to these things, you're automatically going to get assistance from FEMA.
Well, the number one thing people want is money. How soon could they get a check if they're entitled to one?
So it's going to vary for each person depending on how much information we get from them. But after about 10 days, within 10 days of applying, an inspector should contact them to come out and see the home, see the damage. You do need to be there for that, so if you're not, unfortunately, they're going to leave and you're going to have to jump back in the line. But after that point, they'll send the information back to us. We're going to review that as quickly as we can, and you'll get a determination letter. Once you get that determination letter, we're hoping to have the money in people's accounts within about 48 hours, and we've been pretty good about hitting that mark so far here in Texas.
All right, Peter Herrick with FEMA, thanks again for dropping by. We appreciate it. Always good information, sir.
Thank you.